This is another rematch between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, this time in the AFC Championship game. This will be the fourth time that these teams are playing up against one another. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and the Chiefs are 3-0 against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. While Josh Allen has had success against the Chiefs in the regular season, in the playoffs, he's put up a big goose egg in the win column against this team. The Chiefs are on pace and really setting up for NFL history, like I mentioned, for the first three-peat in the Super Bowl era. So here's my question to you. America wants one thing and one thing only. They want the Bills to win. Now here's my question to you. Will you give America what they want and a Buffalo Bills victory, or will the Chiefs end up going to Super Bowl 59?
My takeaway, Bills and Josh Allen finally break through and beat the Chiefs to reach the Super Bowl in Josh Allen's MVP year. The Bills beat them in the regular season. Allen is on a mission. They will have to go against history, however, to do so. They've lost 7 straight road playoff games. They need to limit Mahomes. They had 2 interceptions against him in the regular season game. The Chiefs have not committed a turnover in 8 straight games now, including the playoff game they played last week. The Bills connected 9 of 13, 9 of 15 third down against the Chiefs in the regular season game. So that's something that the Chiefs are going to try to get the Bills off the field on third down. If the Bills can continue with the way they played in the regular season, then that bodes well for them. They had 71 plays to 52 for the Chiefs in that regular season game, and they time of possession 34 minutes to 26. So that's key for the Bills. Keep Mahomes off the field. Keep moving the ball down the field. Keep chewing up the clock. Time of possession and converting those third downs. The Bills had the fewest turnovers in the league this year with 8, and the biggest takeaways at 35. They got to keep that going. The Chiefs have no running game. They got nobody. They got Kareem Hunt. He's washed up. Pacheco was hurt during the year, and he never came back the way people expected. They got some other couple of no-name guys that don't carry the ball much. They're not going to be running the ball. It's just going to be passes. It's going to be Mahomes. If you can slow Mahomes down and you can limit Kelsey, who always has big playoff games, I like the Bills 35-31.
So you're giving America what it wants. I wish I could agree with you, but I know better because they just find a way. They always find a way, whether it be referees, bad calls, great plays late, Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo's defense. They always find a way to win. So I am picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win. I think it will be late game heroics, 30-27. That's my score. Chiefs do win. Do I feel good about picking that? No. No, because I think, and then, I don't care what people say. America wants the Bills to win. I think that everybody outside of Kansas City is rooting for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Because this would mean, if the Chiefs do win this game, their 5th Super Bowl appearance in 6 years. Nobody wants that except Kansas City.
I don't want it. I'm a Patriots fan. I don't want to see that.
Well, and here's why. And you know what? I'm not only saying this just to be, by the way, that pick was just for me to be right because the Chiefs always find the way. Josh Allen nearly had to become Superman again in the prior game that we saw in the playoffs. He almost tried to do too much. Here's the example I'm talking about. They're driving late in the game. They need to make a play, and this is what Josh Allen does. He runs it and nearly pitches it back to James Cook. That's what he would do a few years ago in order to make a big-time play, and against the Kansas City Chiefs, that's going the opposite way most likely as a fumble. He can't do that in the game if he wants to win.
He's learned. He's not going to do that.
And not only that, the Bills' win over the Chiefs earlier this year was actually relatively impressive because Keon Coleman was out. The right tackle Spencer Brown was out. They were down Dalton Kincaid. They were down Matt Milano. All those players were gone. They're back. They're down Taylor Rapp, who, by the way, did next to nothing anyway in this in the Week 11 game. So I'm not sure how big of a loss Taylor Rapp will turn out to be because he didn't do much in the prior game against the Chiefs anyway. But I'm gonna try to defend the Buffalo Bills, even though I'm picking the Chiefs, because I'm on America's side right now. Josh Allen in Arrowhead has not been the problem. He has not been the issue, and the numbers back it up. He's actually outplayed Mahomes in Arrowhead. He has more total yards, has more total touchdowns, fewer turnovers. He has a higher passer rating. The only thing he doesn't have is a higher completion percentage. He has not been the problem. So, and by the way, those 2 losses, I believe, were the ones in the playoffs. So in the regular season, I believe he's undefeated at Arrowhead. Mm-hmm. If he, and by the way, again, the Chiefs pick for me is because I want to be correct. I want to add to my win-loss record. I'm on America's side here. I want the Bills to win. I just know the Chiefs will win because they always find a way to win.
Yeah, well, those are really good points, and I'll say the thing that worries me the most in picking the Bills is Sean McDermott.
Late game,
okay?
Too. Yeah.
You point out it's not been Josh Allen. He's outplayed Mahomes at Arrowhead, right? It's been Sean McDermott snatching defeat from the jaws of victory a couple of times in the playoffs against the Chiefs. That can't happen again. He's got to make good in-game decisions, and he doesn't have a history of doing that. That's my biggest fear in this game. Other than that, I think the Bills are going to find a way to win.
I think that we saw a little bit of growth, and maybe it's because it's the divisional round and the stakes aren't quite at the highest point yet because the Bills have been to the divisional round. It's very rare that they make it to the championship under the Josh Allen era. I believe this is only the second time he's done that. But I think a bit of growth that we saw in the play calling is late in the game. I believe it was on the drive where Josh Allen did this. Instead of going for it on 4th down, or no, it was when it was 19-21. Instead of going for it on 4th down, they kick a field goal. Instead of going for it, you decide to just put up points. And that's what the Bills are going to need to do. And here's the big question. If it is a 4th and 3 in the first half, on, let's say, the 40-yard line, on the Chiefs' 40-yard line, are the Bills going to go for it? Or are they going to kick a pretty long-distance field goal? Because this game will come down to points. Because, yes, the Chiefs' offense ran for 50 yards. And put up 212 total yards, which, if you look at it throughout the season, was their worst offensive production this season. The only one that was worse was when there were no starters out there, where they put up a grand total of 98 total yards. So if you want to say legitimate games, this was their worst offensive production. And that's with Travis Kelce going off, because Al Shire, the linebacker for the Texans, every time Kelce made a big catch, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, who were they circling on the teleprompter? They were circling Al Shire, because he would just leave him open in the zone coverage. And that's something that Travis Kelce does, and Travis Kelce and Mahomes do beautifully. They find the hole in zone, and then you get massive gains off of it. And also, I'll also put this out. Again, not a conspiracy theorist, and I brought this up the last time. I'm not saying I believe it.
I think it's worth bringing up.
The data is there. The data is there that the Chiefs get fewer penalties, suffer fewer penalty yards, and not only that, the penalties that they do get called on are less severe than their opponent's penalties. Because we take a look at it. They've had 3 defensive pass interference and defensive holdings called on the Chiefs in the past 4 playoff years. They've had 11 called against the opposition. 1 roughing the passer against them, 7 on the opposition. Those are 15-yard penalties. 0 unnecessary roughness, 4 on the opponents.
Yeah.
0 unsportsmanlike conducts, 1 on the opponent. I'm pretty sure that 1 was on Kyle Van Noy when they played against Baltimore last year. I think that was around the first half as well. So it's not only, it could be, right? Because we're like, okay, well, now the Chiefs get more disciplined in the playoffs. The numbers back it up. Yes, the Chiefs might not get called for a lot of penalties, but the amount of yards that they gain from penalties are massive. Their penalty disparity is ridiculous. And we just showed, I'm not saying the NFL's rigged, but the fact that
I think this
is realistic data.
This has been talked
proves
about.
that there's some sort of issue.
This has been talked about recently. I think that it's been exposed a little bit. Mahomes has been exposed for trying to flop and get penalties. So I think maybe they won't be so successful with it in this game. We'll have to wait and see.
And the referee reffing this game backs that up because it's Clete Blakeman. Home teams are 5-11 with Blakeman as the head ref.
Oh, wow.
And since 2016, home teams are 46.5% against the spread. This is a 1.5 point spread for the Chiefs, so it's basically like a pick 'em. The Bills are 6-2 straight up and 4-4 against the spread with Blakeman as the ref in the Josh Allen era, and the Chiefs are 5-6 straight up and 4-6-1 with Blakeman since 2018. So the NFL, which by the way I think they had 7 potential choices for the lead referee in this game for the reffing crews, they chose this one, and I do think it's because as of late we're hearing so much about the Chiefs and the referees.
Yeah, well maybe that's a leveling factor there. That won't be.
And hold on, let's
issue.
say for all intents and purposes, reffing is not an issue in this game with Blakeman out there. I think that just puts more pressure on the NFL, more pressure on the referees. That's something. I'm not saying it's rigged. The Mahomes product is too valuable for the NFL. And by the way, people say, "Well, Brady got these calls." Yes, there are a couple questionable calls that Brady got. Like, for instance, AFC Championship Game, I think it's Chris Jones, barely smacked him on the head. It got thrown for an roughing the passer, unnecessary, whatever the call was. It was a penalty on the Chiefs defender, 15 yards. That's true. But Tom Brady, I think, got 35 roughing the passer calls in his career. Mahomes has 31. And this is his, 7th year in the NFL? So the data is there. And Mahomes manipulates the rules while it is very cheap. I don't have the clip up here anymore, but the slowing up out of bounds and then you step your toe out and then you get touched and a flag comes out, you become essentially a runner and then you slide late. The Texans players hit their own helmets and in sort of like the ricochet, you also get hit. That's a flag. You had a bogus roughing the passer call. And I agree. And now there's some, some speculation about how the rules could change. I think one of them is just like the defense. Let's bring up I'm not going to play the soundbite again, but exactly what the Washington Commanders defensive coordinator said. And I think this is the way the NFL should be.
We'll be waiting for you, pal.
Well, not only that, I think the rule should be if you step out of the pocket, you're fair game. There's no protection. The pocket is your protection. If you step out and especially break out for a scramble, you're going to be treated like every other player who has the ball in their hands running.
Well, you are, unless you slide.
Which Mahomes manipulates now because we're seeing him slide so late, which is what got Trevor Lawrence knocked out for the entire season, and which got Azeez Al-Shaair suspended for 3 games. And you know what? I said this weeks ago, after the Broncos game, I believe. Maybe not in the championship game, but maybe in the regular season. If Mahomes keeps doing this and the rules don't get changed, hit him. Hit him. Screw the flag. Because they'll probably win anyway.
Yeah.
All you got to do is make it hurt.
It's going to be a great game. I completely agree. I just hope it's not a coaching snafu by McDermott that costs the Bills. I'm worried about that.
I think no matter if you're rooting for the Chiefs, if you're rooting for the Buffalo Bills, don't let the refs determine the outcome of the game. Because we've seen in so many Chiefs games where there's a late flag and it completely ruins the other 59 minutes of the game. Because it's just on one simple penalty. And it could be a dumb penalty, which means that it shouldn't have been called, but it was. Or maybe there should have been a roughing the passer on the other team, not the Chiefs, but it wasn't called.
Pass interference against the Eagles.
Interference call
against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Bengals in this season. Don't let the refs determine the outcome of the game. If the Chiefs win on pure merit, by all means, the Chiefs win. If the Bills win on merit, the Bills win. Don't let Clete Blakeman on the final second play, Mahomes throws the ball. We think it's game over. Jim Nantz goes, and the Bills for the X amount of years are finally hold on, folks. Flag, opposite side of the field. It's a roughing the passer. They're on the 35-yard line. I forgot Harrison Butker gets a game-winning field goal. Chiefs move on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I give the edge on offense to the Bills, the edge on defense to the Chiefs, and the special teams even.
I think that's fair. Although
the kicking game, Bass has been very good lately, and Buckner, he's always been good. So the kickoff returns, I don't think there'll be many. punt returns. I don't know who.
Well,
I don't know who the punt returner is for either team.
The Super Bowl hero, McCole Hardman, he won't be in this playoffs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's done for the playoffs, so we won't be able to see that weird speed option like they had in the Super Bowl to beat the.
I mean, the
San
Chiefs'
Francisco 49ers.
the Chiefs' wide receiver core is a little sketchy too, except for Kelsey, I think. Right?
Well,
DeAndre Hopkins, he didn't have a catch last week. Neither did Schuster or what was the other, one other guy didn't have
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, no, Worthy had a couple of catches. He's really their only threat on the wideouts, I think. And the Chiefs, the Bills wide receivers they play under the radar. I mean, Shakir is very good. Hollywood Brown, right? He didn't have any catches.
Two targets,
Nothing.
no catches. Juju Smith-Schuster, 1 target, no catches.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, 1 target, no catches.
And they got no running game.
Like I said,
it's Mahomes and Kelsey against the Bills.
Right, and like I said, though, if you take out basically the throw game, Week 18, where nobody saw, they put up 98 total yards of offense in that game. Last week was their worst performance offensively in the entire season. 212 total yards. If that happens in the Bills game, the Bills are going to win by 15 points. Because I don't think Mahomes could go in there, go on cruise control from the opening snap, and just say, you know what? We're going to win. Because if it's a repeat of the Texans game, Josh Allen and the Bills will overcome that. They'll overcome that because they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You could just tell by the sack numbers. It's one of the lowest sack numbers in NFL history that this Bills team's had, or at least in a very, very long time. Josh Allen has become not really a numbers guy, but an efficient quarterback, extending drives. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to hopefully bring up the number here. The time of possession they have, the time per drive. Make sure if my computer will load. It's one of the highest in the NFL. Yeah, it's the number 11. They average the 11th longest time of possession drives in the NFL. They also put up the second most points per drive in the NFL.
They have a nice running game.
Nearly a field goal every time they take the ball.
They have a very nice running game, and they have a under-the-radar passing game with some players that, but they are not big names. They've had some nice games, particularly Shakir.
Josh Allen, and I said this last week, he doesn't need to put on the Superman cape. He just needs to be the best quarterback in the system. Mm-hmm. Don't go back to the pre-Brian Daboll. Don't go back to the Ken Dorsey. Turnovers, red zone interceptions, bad play, Superman cape. Do not, by all the love of God, do not do this and instead flip the ball. Because that wasn't going to reach James Cook. It wasn't. You were getting swallowed up instantly.
No, he didn't do it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Don't actually do it this time. Mm-hmm. Because that would be Chiefs ball.
Maybe Von Miller will have another big game.
I think that's what Bills Nation's hope. I'm picking the Chiefs based on the fact that they always find a way to win.
Uh-huh.
But don't worry, Bills Mafia. I'm with you. I want the Bills to win. I just don't think they will because the Chiefs always find
I'm sorry you didn't pick them. There it is.
It doesn't feel good to pick the Chiefs. It just doesn't. I think that the Bills have a beautiful opportunity, and I think that the overall question is, if not this year, will they ever?
Well, I think they thought, a lot of people thought their season was somewhat of a building season this year. They have a lot of new players on defense that will be back, right? And they have a lot of young receivers on offense who've played very credibly, and their running game is good. So I think they have a chance to get back. Josh Allen's still young.
No. Not get back into the AFC Championship game. Will they ever beat the Chiefs in the playoffs?
Oh.
As Josh Allen and Mahomes as their quarterback.
They're going to beat him on Sunday. I picked them already. Yeah.
I would also like to add, the last time the Chiefs had a turnover was against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
That's the last time they had. They had one, I think, on the opening snap.
2 interceptions they had.
That second one was like a sort of just a heave out there, try to get the ball down. I'm pretty sure that was what Taylor Rapp's interception was. I don't think he had the opening one. I think it was Bernard who got that pick. I could be wrong. I'm not looking at it right now. But, yeah. It's the biggest game of Josh Allen's career. This doesn't change Mahomes' legacy in a negative way. It just says he'll probably be here next year. Josh Allen, this is the biggest game of his life. Because this would finally get him over the hump. And I think if you somehow, you went up against the Chiefs when they were undefeated and beat them. You went up against the Lions on a massive winning streak and beat them. Then you go into the playoffs against the Baltimore Ravens, who beat the crap out of you earlier on in the year. You beat them. Now you're going up against the Chiefs again. You have an opportunity to beat them. If you do that, they may get over their Super Bowl scares again. 4 straight Super Bowls, 4 straight losses. If you do that, I think they have a good shot at winning the Super Bowl. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.